Welcome to the Winning Move podcast. I'm your host, Stratton Brown. I interview successful entrepreneurs from around the world to see what moves they've made in their lives to get successful and, more importantly, stay successful. I'm here to make sure you can create a better life for you and your family. Let's tune in. Hey guys, welcome to the Winning Move podcast. We have another dope guest on today, a man who retired his wife at age 29. Before we dive into that, if you guys are looking for any type of virtual assistance, go to callmagicians.com or magicvirtualstaffing.com. So thank you so much for coming on. And it's Adrian, am I pronouncing that right? Smude?
Yes, you got it right.
Smude. Awesome, bro. I love the thumbnail for this is you standing in your Speedo that says my wife buys houses. Well, my wife buys mobile homes.
Yep. It took a little bit before I decided to go that route with some marketing because I've always been a guy that wears Speedos, but bringing it to the business world took a little bit of leap.
Has that given you any traction?
It's given me a lot of Facebook likes and laughs. I can't say I actually purchased a property because of it. And
I mean, but then like you get that and then people join your mastermind, right? Because it's you. So it's still marketing.
Yeah. I just try to be me. And it's made for some good jokes in the closing table when a guy randomly asked if he got a Speedo with the closing. He got me off guard.
So he saw the picture?
He didn't. He was actually a referral by a friend, and a friend told him to ask. And it's hard to catch me speechless, and he caught me speechless. Well, yeah, it's all fun. You know, you got to be you and your personality, and I think that's what really sells, is not that one personality is better than another, just being genuine.
So were you always like that? Because I'm really big on being like authentically you from growing up with, let's say, religious overtones to where I want to be whoever I am no matter what and break out of my shell and always be me and fuck everything else. So were you always like that? Did you have to overcome some barriers? What did that look like?
I mean, I'm not going to say I've always been that way, but I was brought up to be like that. And for the most part, I've always tried to be true to me. I know that at times, I've strayed away because society tries to mold us into this little box. I mean, that's what this shirt is about. That's what our marketing is I didn't like being the normal person, just the everyday real estate investor. And I was looking for something to break out and be different and for someone to approach me. And back then there was that black and white shirt that says I buy houses. I'm not sure who was making them, but that's all I saw. And between my creativity and I knew that women are better for marketing.
Always.
I made this shirt, and at one of the masterminds I'm a part of, someone was like, what are you doing with this other marketing that doesn't work? Stick with a shirt and trash the other stuff.
Yeah.
And it's been probably 3 years now, and this is our brand. This is everything.
Okay.
It's fun.
I love it. What masterminds are you in? And then I want to hear about your mastermind too.
So I am in Life and Air. I've been in that for 5 years. It is a coaching and a mastermind together. And then I joined a Circle of Trust about a year ago when they are more of just a mastermind, and it's a real estate investors only. And when I was researching the guys that ran that, I looked to see who were their coaches, and their coaches I respected. So I was like, these guys have a good coach themselves, and I stuck with it. I love that group. And then they're actually the ones that gave me the idea that I could actually run a mastermind, because I was in there and they're like, you love masterminds and being in these creative environments. You could be doing this, and you could be not paying to be in one, but being paid. I had never thought of that. So my buddy and I started one earlier this year, and it's for just high level real estate investors, not beginners. We're looking for people that are, I will say, at our level or ahead that we can learn from as well, and that are doing this every day. That's their business.
So what gave you the confidence to do that? Because I want to start one. And then how did it work? Like, what did that whole process look like?
Well, the confidence was really the group of another mastermind. You know, they're an open book. The two masterminds I'm in are just real genuine people that are open books. They don't have the scarcity mentality, the abundance mentality. So they really gave me everything that they were doing, and we tweaked it a little bit to be our own. How does it work? It's challenging because
Okay.
we're looking for that high level, and a lot of high level people are already in one or two masterminds, and there's only so much bandwidth.
Time and bandwidth. I think it's
So
hard to implement all the things you take away.
exactly. So, we're growing at a slow pace. We just haven't put it out there and blasted it because we haven't really wanted to do that. We've been invite only, or, referrals from other people, because we want to talk to the people, make sure that they're truly doing this every day. And I kind of have this like unspoken rule. I've got to want to have a beer with a person. If I don't want to hang out with them after hours, they're just not the right fit for our group, because we're keeping it like 10 people.
Okay.
We want it to be a small, intimate, group where we can really grow together fast.
So where did you find all the people who you invited into your mastermind?
Right now, they've been people in our network, my buddy and I, that we started it, and then friends of friends. So it's been those two right now have been where we've gotten people from.
Okay. And and I know I'm kind of dialing in, but I'm super curious.
I'm an open book, man.
Is it more real estate centric?
But we are telling and putting it out there that it is real estate based at a high level.
Okay.
But we both believe that mindset is way bigger than real estate, and you can't get the job done if there's something off in our heads or relationships. So we do know that it will have its times that get off topic of real estate, but really that's the more important stuff.
Okay.
So we're not gonna not dive into something if people feel like, hey, there's something more here that needs to be spoken about. It's not like that's an off topic thing. We're gonna go with what needs to be spoken about.
I love that. So, and then Life in Air is a different mindset that I was introduced. I have a couple of people in a mastermind. What's it called? Storage Rebellion.
Oh yeah.
That my girlfriend and I joined, to where a lot of Ken is our Storage Rebellion coach.
Awesome. Ken Holmes is my direct coach at Life in Air.
Oh, hell yeah.
He's an awesome, amazing guy.
So, and it's just a completely different mindset to what's it called? Social media entrepreneurs put out. Completely different. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I was talking to Ken about like actual numbers, and the numbers that he's happy with are not small numbers, right? Like you can live a great life off of that.
Yes. I don't know that I would be fully in the niche of mobile homes if it wasn't for him keeping me, I'll say, in my lane. Once I got some phenomenal returns on the first few, I went to go start doing smaller deals. And he's like, why are you doing that? You can get these same returns you got in the first few. Why would you slow down and settle? And he was right. I mean, he's a phenomenal coach. I think a good coach asks the right questions and guides you, doesn't just tell you, hey, you got to do this.
Yep.
And he sets a really good example. Like, he's got a passion for doing all this without his own money and without bank's money. And he wants to do it that way because he wants you to see it's proven by his process that it can be done.
Oh, without a doubt. We're trying to buy a deal from him right now.
Nice.
And he was like, bro, it's good enough deal. You should buy it cash. He's like, I'll buy it cash. And this is like a $1.8 million deal. And he doesn't buy it. He's the only person I've ever met who does bigger real estate all with cash. Right? Everyone says debt. And he's the only person I've ever met who's just, nope, I'll raise all the cash and we'll figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, we're not afraid to use our own cash with anything. We're actually selling a site-built home right now, and that'll be our last bank-financed property. And we'll be done with those. Everything else is a joint venture of some sort or some owner financing, like basically a person that we can actually have a conversation with or it's our own cash that we purchased with.
And why did you start making that decision?
Well, one big reason is mobile homes. So our niche is a land home package, and it's the 60s and 70s of the age of the mobile homes. Those aren't financeable by any bank. So
No.
once we got that niche really because that's what the market was giving us. We have a few in the 80s, we have a few in the 90s. Would I prefer more of those? Yes. But the market gave us these 60s and 70s, so that's what we really stuck with. So we were forced to either use our own cash, which is what we did on the first few, and then ask for owner financing or ask for private money. And the private money side, I was told once you get it the first time, it becomes very easy and it's everywhere. I didn't believe it. As soon as I got it, it was everywhere. I try to tell people just trust that you just takes that first time and proving yourself. Obviously, you can't just get it and don't perform. And now we have private money, and one of the really cool things and Life and Air, some of my private money lenders are in Life and Air. We'll be in this mastermind, and I will tell all my problems and what's going wrong right now. And then the person next to me is like, "Do you want my money?" Society usually teaches us put on your best behavior, your suit and tie, and all this. These guys and girls are knowing the real me and knowing what's really wrong, and they're like, "Well, that's it. Okay, this guy's good." It's a fully different way to think, and we don't have to try to fake things. We give people an opportunity, and all the opportunities we give on our private money are things I would put my own money into if somebody offered it to me.
100%. And so what's the aim you go for on a return to your private investors? And then after that, how did you get your first private investor?
Well, we've been looking for double digits returns. So one way, it depends. If they are going to be performance-based, it's double digits. And that's because we set it up. If we are not getting money coming in as a rent, you're not getting a check from us.
Yep.
And for me, that's a scary part of debt, is having no money coming in, but money going out.
Mm-hmm.
So we're happy to give away a little bit more money every month for that safety net. And how did I get the first one? I believe it was Ken or one of my other coaches that basically coached me through it, with a guy next to me that wanted to start private money lending out of his IRA. So it was, holding both of our hands and walking us through it. And if we're doing an interest-only loan, which we do with some people, then it's under 10%. It's definitely single digits, but we have to make that payment regardless. So we have to, there's not as much value to that one.
So you're doing interest-only loans. Are you putting balloons in those things, or you're just like, hey?
Yeah, we do have some. Balloons are the other thing that scare me in debt.
Oh, yeah.
But we are buying them at such good numbers and such well performance that I know I can come and offer you the same deal. If someone doesn't want to renew, I can either look to pay cash to pay it off, or I can say, look, I have 4 years of history of tenants paying this much, this return, and offer it out and get someone else. If it's not enough, I could put $5,000 of my own into it and ask for $5,000 less. And I know then I'll be closer to a 15-18% return. And I just don't think we're going to a market that doesn't like those type of returns.
No.
So I'm not concerned with it. And a lot of our deals are $20,000 to $50,000.
Okay.
So, yeah, well, 20,000 has been a few years now, but this year earlier we got one at 50,000. That's the most we ever paid. 50,000 is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the end of the world to come up with. It's not the 1 point whatever million you just
right.
About doing. I can find that type of money.
Yeah. Well, and it's not, what's it called? The investor because we're raising all the money for it. The investor, we're going for like 800,000. Right, raising 800,000. This will be our first. At least I know the people, and this will be our first private money.
Nice.
It's a big deal. But then Ken coached us through that entire thing. Or I was like, hey, I got to give up X amount of equity because I want to give him this much return. He's like, no. You can't do that. Nope. Quit talking like that. You're giving up way too much. You should do this. To where having a coach in everything I do, I think is the best thing I've ever done.
I totally agree. I will never not have a coach in the rest of my life. You know, if things move on where Ken and I aren't together as coach and student, I know I will be hiring someone else. Like I'm going to write a book in the next year. I hired a coach that specializes in writing books because I believe every coach has their specialty. I totally believe in coaching, and I think it's a mindset to get over that too.
Oh yeah.
And the guy that got me to get over it, he said, Michael Jordan has a coach and always has had a coach at every part of his life. Why do you think you're better than Michael Jordan? I was like, there's nothing I can say to that.
A lot of people are so adamant against it. Well, I'd say in the real estate space, people are saying be fearful of gurus. But I think you do need to. We've spent close to $60,000 on coaching this year alone. For masterminds, all that education, to where if we didn't, bro, I just don't even know. I'd have zero confidence in what I'm doing as you're going into a new venture.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, there's some scammers out there, or some big gurus, or people that are, I believe, overpriced for what they're actually delivering. But there's also so many really valuable people that just want to help and are fair price. I mean, the price of it's all relative. You know,
100%.
I thought Life and Air was expensive whenever I joined it, but I can tell you $1 return just on private money that I got. And that doesn't even include the confidence that you mentioned, the directions, the coaching, the mindset. I mean, that alone, I've gotten a huge return on. And like I said, we would not be in the place in our business if it wasn't for the push, not only of our coach, but of the Mastermind group itself.
Okay. And do you want to explain a little bit about what Life and Air is about? Because we've talked about it, but it's completely different than anything.
So the way I describe it is if Tony Robbins and Dave Ramsey had a baby, it's Life and Air. There's a lot of mindset in there. Life and Air in a whole believes in a debt-free model. Does not mean that you can't have debt, but they do believe in attempting to be debt-free. I don't consider my joint venture agreements performance-based that take away the two scary parts of debt for me. I don't consider them to be the bad debt. But really, it's just a group that you get coached one-on-one, but then you get the group setting of a mastermind. What is a mastermind, in my opinion, because I know there's a lot of different forms, it's sitting in a room for multiple days and me telling all my problems and the rest of the group firing back ideas of how to solve them, things to think about, questions that make me think. And they're going to be all over the board, and I have to kind of pick which ones fit me the best and go home and act on it. And there's a lot of accountability and good ones as well, because if not, you just see them in 3 months, 6 months, and that's it. The accountability, if you have good integrity, you don't want to be the only one going back to that meeting and didn't get your shit done.
Yep.
Because then
that's huge.
Yeah. You don't look good. And a good group that stays together starts knowing each other, and they can call BS real fast on you.
Yep.
And we do that. One of my mentors, Chuck, he always loves to say, I love you, but, and then that's when you know he's getting serious and he's going to drop the hammer on you on what you're not doing or he really wants to challenge you on.
I love you, but you're thinking like a bitch.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, pretty much. He gets direct to the point, which saves time. You know, if not, we can beat around the bush forever. But, you know, I joke around, if I just want to be coddled and loved on, I'll ask my mom, because my mom loves me. She, you know, everything I do is great. But if I want that hard challenge that a mother's not going to give, because it's, in my opinion, really not a mother's job to really be hard, you go to another group and you ask them, give me the hard questions, challenge me, tell me, yeah, I know I'm doing good, but I want to do great or I want to do excellent, and keep pushing me up.
I love that. Let's talk about all the friends you've made in these masterminds that are even, I think, the biggest part of it besides being there, but being able to call someone and be like, my fucking life is falling apart. And they're going to talk you out of it. And they're like, no, bro, you're fine. What are your issues? And then you can actually talk to someone who's going through the same things.
You hit it right there. I mean, we've done everything from the beautiful times of going to Mexico together that are outside of official meetings. And we've gone vacations. There have been those 1 o'clock in the morning calls. Hey, things aren't going well. You just have some time to talk. You just talk on the phone. It's a safe conversation. You don't have to worry about it going anywhere. And usually in a room, whatever your problem is, it's nothing new.
Nope.
Someone else in the room has gone through it, no matter how special we think we are. That's actually something I love that Ken will say every once in a while is, you're not special. Because all of our problems, someone's gone through them before. They feel huge to us at the time because we're going through them. But once you realize that someone else has already gone through that, for me, it gives you hope that you can get through it, and they can tell you what they did, which will hopefully shortcut your journey and challenge. And real estate or personal, it really doesn't matter. They're all together. Like I mentioned earlier, I believe that the business can't run without the mindset there. The mindset and relationships all set. If those aren't good, the business will never succeed.
Ever. I think my biggest thing is real estate is just the widget. That's all it is. Real estate's the widget. I can go into insurance sales. I can go into selling tables. Real estate's just the widget. It's the mindset that really matters.
I totally agree. And really, for me, I think I'm more in the people business. I'm using mobile homes to buy mobile homes in a way and giving people an extra option that they don't think they traditionally have for these older ones that can't be bank financed. And I want to do something more than just the cash offer. We love giving owner finance or however we can structure it. We've done some master leases, whatever's the best situation to solve their problem. And then on the flip side, sometimes we'll do some owner financing. And if we do that, we're filling a hole in the market that the home is not financeable. And most likely the person that moves into it is not financeable. So we're getting to fill that void on both sides. And I love that. That's what fills me up in this business is the people that we get to help on both sides of it.
Okay. Because I'm a little bit jaded when it comes to real estate sellers, especially when we're buying discounted stuff. There's a lot of times we're just dealing with shitty people.
Yep. And I've had sellers say, hey, someone else is offering me a little bit more than you, but I like you better. And actually, that lady, I asked her how much. It was only $1,000 more. I was like, you know what? I'll match it. And I know I didn't have to. She would have sold it to me anyways, but my numbers still worked.
Right.
So I agree. I try to break that norm, especially the mobile home space, I believe has a little stronger negative stereotype.
Yes.
I want to do my tiny part to break that, and I can't stand the term slumlord. I take it very offensive. That's one of the few words that I take offensively. Okay.
So now I guess we'll talk about what got you into real estate. I was just really interested about your mastermind. How did you get into real estate, boss?
Well, I was 20, and I was being evicted from a house that my friends and I were renting in. We were absolutely terrible tenants. We actually have some eviction notices telling us not to park the motorcycle inside the house. And my cousin was a mortgage broker at the time. He said, why don't you buy something? So I bought something. I looked back recently and I bought it with $1,500 out of my bank account. All the closing costs, everything was wrapped in the loan. Because 18 years ago, you didn't really need anything to buy a house. I moved all my friends in that helped me get evicted, and it worked out well. Maybe it shouldn't have, but we lived there, and then I bought a second house, but that one was at the top of the market. And long story short, there ended up being a short sale, which in hindsight is one of the best things that happened to me. It made me very conservative. It slowed me down. I thought I was an actual landlord, and it helped me see I was a hobby landlord once I started going to some real estate meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, we bought a few more houses. I say we, my wife, she was a girlfriend at the time. She was bankable. I wasn't. We bought a few more houses. And then I started listening to the guys that had been in the business longer than I've been alive. And they all talked about mobile homes. Either they owned them at the time or they owned them in the past. So I was like, these guys know more than me because they've been doing it longer. And I took the leap, bought one. And I think within a month later, we bought a second one. And fast forward to today, we are selling our last site-built home, which is that original house that I bought. And we are only in mobile homes. That's all we own.
So what is your general entry and exit? Like, are you going in and you wrapping these things, or you're going in, like, how does that work?
2 years ago, we were probably all in anywhere between 28,000 and 35,000. This year, we bought one at 50, and we're all in probably at 55, 56,000. So the market really has changed. Rents are also up higher as well. So our niche is we look for a home that a blue-collar worker is going to want to live in.
Okay.
What does that look like? It looks like some yard space that they can bring their animals. We are fine with pigs and goats and rabbits and ferrets and all that. They can park their trailer because they probably have a utility trailer. We might have a workshop on it that they can put all their tools in. That is our niche, is to fill our homes with, we don't care who moves in, but the blue-collar handyman will also make the repairs.
Yeah.
We don't make our homes pretty. We make them safe and livable. And if they need a lot of cosmetic work to be pretty, we might give them a discount to move in or a discount on rent, and we let them do the painting. We feel like it saves both of us money, because if they are going to paint it a different color eventually anyways, well, if we paint it and then you repaint it in a year, Home Depot wins. No one wins on that but Home Depot, because we want people to make it their home, because we want them to move in and stay there their entire life. And we want, when they pass away, we want their kid to move in, and when their kids pass away, we want their kids to move in. And I tell every tenant that. I joke around about it a little bit, but I'm very serious. I want them to make it their home and live there forever.
So, and these are just tenants. Like, this is not lease option. This is not a wrap. This is just tenants.
That's just tenants. We will do a little bit of rent to own, but we don't treat it any different. I mean, our properties are the same if it's a rent to own or if it's just a rental.
So my head goes to, if this person does all this work, they feel like they have equitable interest in the house, and then, but you're in Florida, right? So you don't have the nonsense that California does.
Yeah, and also, I mean, they're not rebuilding the house. We're talking about cosmetic stuff, and sometimes we'll get people that want to replace the trim or do some bigger stuff, and we want to prove that they're going to stay there and pay longer. But then we'll give them a discount on rent for the materials. So we'll buy the materials sometimes. It's situational.
Okay.
If there's a hole in the roof, I'm not going to let a tenant fix that.
Yeah.
So it really is situational, but we want to make it where they ask us. We don't ever tell them they have to do anything. These are requests that the tenant asks us. Hey, am I allowed to paint? Or am I allowed to replace the trim? Or I would like to, I'm trying to think of another, build a little playground in the back for our kids. We always make sure everything's going to comply with code. Like, a lot of times people want to put fences up if they're going to have animals, and it doesn't. We're fine with that. It's got to comply with whatever county or municipality says. but people are happy to do it. When you treat them right and you give them a home to live in that they can stay for a long time, we found people are very happy with it.
So we got that. How many mobile homes do you own?
We take care of 20, upper 20s. My wife keeps track of that stuff. I just find them, and and I say take care of because some of them we own, some of them are master leases. So we're renting from somebody else with the right to sublet. So if let's say the one of them we got last year, the title work is extremely screwed up. I mean, I think they would have to open 3 or 4 probates, letting people know that there's a property they may have interest in that have no idea. So it was going to be a total mess. So we're renting it from those people for 40 years. And then we have the right to sublet it out. And on that one, we did a performance-based. So we get half of the net rent. And, it's a lot longer time to talk about how to really do that. I learned that from Dave Tilney. He's probably the best one out there teaching something like that. But it's a wonderful tool in the tool belt. And really, I mean, to touch on education a little bit, which I know that you're big on, I took the class for master leasing and didn't touch it probably for 2, maybe 3 years. And then as soon as that came across and I started talking to her, I was like, this is a master lease. That's the solution to help these people out. And I made all my money back and some right away on the deal from the class. So it's, we don't always use it right away, but it's that tool that's in the tool belt that you can always go back to the book and pull out your paperwork and help people out.
Dude. So what happens at the end of that 40 years of the master lease? I've only talked to one person who wanted to do it on a single family house because of the same situation. Like, it was so messy. Like, a master lease works so much better.
Well, they would love to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
My plan is to try to help them clean it up, the title work.
Okay.
Really, I don't know when the next recession is, but when the title companies aren't so busy, I was going to say, hey, can you help figure this out? Because like I said, there's going to be a mess of it. I'm hoping that they can do quiet title. That's not something I'm an expert in.
Define quiet title for me.
The way I know it is if you've made, we'll say, the tax payments for 7 years, and you can basically show that you own it.
Oh,
it
eminent domain.
Out all of the title from the past.
Yep.
But that's a perfect example. I only know a tiny bit about it. So instead of going and learning something brand new, I'm going to use my time wisely, and I'm going to use someone else's time that's an expert on it and pay them. That's the way I like to work. If I get a short sale, I got a buddy, Bob. I'm going to say, Bob, work this short sale, and I'll either split the deal with you or I'll pay you, whatever it is. I don't want to learn every little piece of real estate. I want to slowly learn a few that are really interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just use other people's time and give them some money or some equity or profits or whatever it is out of the deal. And that's how we travel a lot too, because we like to travel.
I love it. I love that. How did you retire your wife at 29? What made you feel comfortable enough to tell her to leave her job? And did you guys have like a money goal?
So yeah, we had a lot of goals with it. Ken actually challenged me to put a whiteboard up and put 10 properties, and because we figured out 10 for the average we needed. The average we were getting per property, we needed 10. So we put 10 up there, blank lines, and every time I bought one, I put it up there and put the new number total at the bottom. And I think we needed $3,000 more of passive income to completely replace her income. But we were living off of her income and snowballing the real estate at that point.
Okay.
We're pretty frugal. We don't have kids. We like to travel, but we travel pretty frugal. We go to see stuff, not to stay in a nice hotel. And she didn't believe it for sure at first. I don't even know if Ken fully believed that I could do it. But I think a good coach challenges you further than he even thinks he can do. And we just slowly started chipping away at it. And as we were getting closer, I just kept telling her, in 1 year you're going to retire. In 1 year in 1 year you can retire. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
And we also had 6 months of savings. And
Mm-hmm.
so she's an RN, and it was one of those, she can go get a job easily if she needed one. And we had 6 months of savings. Now, she quit at property number 9. I wasn't fully there. She kept her end of the bargain, and I didn't. So we bought it shortly after. But she went and she did what's called PRN. So she worked as needed. So she could say no to the job if she didn't want to, which fit our lifestyle better. And then actually, so the last year, she's been working COVID. She's been traveling all around. She's been to 9 different locations working as a COVID nurse. And she found that really, really fulfills her way more than any of the other parts of nursing she's done. So yes, I retired her, but I retired her to be able to do what truly fulfills her more than just a job.
Okay. That's amazing. And congrats on that.
Thank you.
She does that. So do you guys use credit cards to travel a lot, or you just travel and that's your thing?
We put everything on credit card and we pay everything off at the end of the month. I love points. She even gets, I love playing the games of spend $4,000 in the first few months to get these bonus points. I love those games because I never pay the interest. It slows me down from getting every single credit card. That's probably the only reason I care about my credit, because I plan to use private money for the rest of my life.
Forever.
But the credit cards are a fun game.
What's the top 5 credit cards someone who wants to travel more should get?
Well, last year, beginning of the year, Southwest Airlines had one that you spent $3,000 and you got the companion pass for the whole year. So everywhere we traveled for the second half of the year, she got to come for $10.
You're kidding.
So, yeah, it was awesome. They don't usually do that one. I have never seen that one again. But during COVID, I got 2 different airlines, and one of them I had to spend $1, and I got enough for 3 airline tickets for spending $1. I got enough points because they were desperate, last year.
What?
And I've already seen those deals go down. But I just always kind of do the math on it. What's my return on the points? That's the way I look. Everything's a return on investment for me.
Okay.
So if I'm going to get a 5% return, I don't really need it. Am I going to get a 10, 20, 30, 40% return? Then I'm interested. And we also, I'll put out there, I don't love telling people to use credit cards if they don't have the discipline to pay them off.
Yeah.
So we have the discipline for when we were in a major growth stage, we did take out some 0% credit cards, put some rehab costs on them. And we had some $40,000, $50,000 cards with 0%. And we paid them off in time, but we also knew that we could go somewhere else and get the money if we really needed to. That's going to be cheaper than a 23% credit card.
Yep. Where are you finding these cards? Like where in God's name did you find that Southwest card? That sounds like a bargain.
Actually, it was a friend in the Life in Our group. He loves the game too, and he knew I did, so he saw it somewhere, and he emailed me, "Hey, have you seen this?" So I have friends that know that I love that game, and I think they email or they mail us like crazy. It's one of those things when you don't need money, you get credit cards and money all the time. When you actually kind of need it, they stop sending you offers.
Exactly. Dude. So now what does your business look like? Because I remember talking to you and you're like, I don't really have to work anymore. Like I choose to work, but I truly don't really have to.
That's a great question. So we've transitioned a lot this year. We brought our office manager on full time, and that was for a few purposes. One, it benefits her a lot more than it did with being part time. It frees my time up to do what I enjoy doing more, which is education. So I'm going to start doing more education and speaking. And really, she runs things a little bit better than me, personality wise.
Okay.
She's better. She actually follows the rules and systems. She's right now creating all of our policy manuals because I never had them. It was just in my head, and we do this one time, and she asked me the same question again, and maybe I'd say this. and she's very good at these are the rules. So her job is to keep me in line.
I like that a lot. I'm the same way.
Yeah. So she's fantastic. She's been with us for 3 years, and we're still buying mobile homes. We're never going to stop doing that. At the right price, I'm never going to stop buying them. We'll probably buy some site-built homes at the next recession.
Okay.
But right now, no one's going to sell me one at the prices I'm getting. Sorry, the returns I'm getting
in your mobile homes.
Because I don't care about the price. All I care about is the return.
That's very true. And I mean, if you're buying everything at 50s, and do they rent out just like a house?
So that one that we're in mid 50s, I think we have it rented for $1,250 a month. So
okay.
They're not. The house in that area would be about the same. I always run my numbers pretty conservatively. I actually ran my numbers on that one at $1,100 a month because rents are crazy here. I'm sure they are around you too, and they're at like that most of the country. I just don't believe that's a long-term thing. I'm talking 10 years. During the next recession, I believe things are going to have to come down. And we're in the affordable housing market. For most of our rents are $700, $800.
Okay.
It could be bumped up a little bit, but I don't want a vacancy.
Mm-hmm.
I want a good long-term tenant that's taking care of the place. That's more important to me than a tiny bit more a month. And I want to be able to drop my rents if needed so I don't lose a tenant when we have our next recession, because it will happen. I hope it's not bad, but it's going to happen at some point.
So do you never raise your rents?
We do.
Okay.
We did not raise them last year because of COVID.
Yeah.
But we are getting ready now to start raising them, and they've skyrocketed. So honestly, our plan is to look at the properties and say, hey, your rent is here. Your market rent is here. What do you think is a fair increase? And we're just going to see what they say. And if they come back with something fair, that's what we're going to go with. You know, we're not in the turnover business. For one, I have to work when it's time to turn over. And it's a little more difficult to do that when you're on vacation. I like my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And, I want to help people out. It is a business, though. We can't not raise the rents because our insurance is going up. Our taxes are going up. So we raise rents. But we want to do it in a manner that benefits both sides.
Okay. And then to kind of wrap this up, bro, what's your biggest failure?
Probably that short sale.
Okay.
Why? So I bought that. It was on an arm.
Oh.
I was losing $125 a month, I think. And that was by renting it out by the room. So it wasn't like I could increase the cash flow somehow. And then when things started getting bad, I decided to hold. So I held it for another 6-8 months. And obviously things didn't go any better. But I really learned a ton from it. So I don't regret that happening. That's my biggest financial screw up. I didn't have good books to know how much I lost. I think I probably lost $10,000 or something. But it could have been way worse. And besides that, we don't do a septic inspection every property. We don't pay someone to walk through every property. I kind of look at it as I'm looking for a fantastic return, and I'll say buying volume, but volume for me is 2, 3, 4 a year.
Okay.
A big year for us is 8. So if 1 or 2 of them end up being a property that I call that just keeps giving, we get in there and then all of a sudden the septic goes bad in the first month or 2, and there's another problem that our electrician finds something that we didn't catch. It happens every once in a while. My guess is probably a quarter of the time, but it averages out that we still have great deals. We may not have fantastic, but we have great. I didn't buy a just getting by number.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking for a great deal that if I totally screwed up turns into a good deal.
Okay. I love that. And the final question, what's your greatest achievement?
It's my wife. For one, finding her, but then retiring her and giving her and us the freedom. And I would say second to that would be early on building the business to be geographically free so that we can travel and still run a business, and we're not scared to give away a little bit of the deal to have freedom, because that's what I think we're all really looking for in real estate is freedom, or any business. We're looking for some type of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And being willing to give something away in exchange for freedom, I think it's a hard thing to get over at the beginning, because we want to do it all.
Oh, without a doubt, dude. Thank you. Where can people find out more about you?
Instagram at My Wife Buys, Facebook as well. You can shoot me a message on any of them, and I'm always happy to help out as I can.
And where can people find out more about your mastermind?
Just shoot me a message. Honestly, I don't even have a website or anything set up at this moment for it. Eventually, we are going to set up maybe a Facebook for it, but we haven't been just blasting it out there because we don't want tons of people to filter through.
Okay.
Same thing. I'm going to be setting up some stuff for my education coming up soon as well, but I just haven't. I haven't do a day.
There's only so much, bro. Well, thank you so much for coming on, boss. You have a great day. And again, guys, if you're looking for any type of virtual assistance, go to magicvirtualstaffing.com. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Winning Move podcast. I hope it helps you make all the right moves in your life and business. Please make sure to go like and subscribe on any podcast platform that you're listening to. And make sure to go follow me on Instagram at StratDaddy. Thank you guys so much. I'll talk